This VWAP once again tells me where I should want to be getting in long or short, depending on the trend that we have on that given day. I know I want to be in and around this price, and I went over it on Wednesday. We're going to go over it again on today's video because there's another trade right off of this VWAP that if you could just learn to be patient for this retest, you can make a lot more money than chasing price further away from it. If you remember the other video I made, my short here on Wednesday, I do like it off of this black daily view up from the changeover of day here on the 15-minute, right? That's where the move happened from the pre-market. I was looking forward to happen again after the open had came in, but I was just fighting all that momentum as it was a strong bullish rally after that 30 minutes of drop here at the open. Buyers stepped in and I stepped right in front of them, hoping they'd come back down. That was the one mistake on that video. I don't think it was a mistake to want to sell it around that price. You can see I wasn't really too wrong on wanting to sell it because of the sentiment overall this week. I'm looking for these to be our lower highs into more drop. It turned out I want to come up a little bit higher and this be our lower high. So we all learned about that. We went over that on the video, but let's go into the next day now with the same idea of yesterday's New York view up here in blue. Our daily view up here today, same thing overnight. We're getting lower lows and lower highs. We actually made a new low a week overnight pre-market. So that's continuing the bearish sentiment where I wanted to sell it yesterday. You can see we spent more time below that price since I shorted it than above it, but my timing was just off. But today we get a nice new low a day, pull back to that same daily view up where I know I want to be in and around at if trend is going to continue, right? If trend doesn't continue, then of course I guess it doesn't really matter where you sell it at. You're wrong. Sellers didn't step back in and trend didn't continue. But rather than sell it down here and hope trend continues from there, I feel a lot more confident hoping trend continues from these key VWAPs because it happens all the time. So we went over yesterday's trade. Let's look at the market from that one I had a pre-market trade on. So I just really liked where we were sitting. You can see that's yesterday's short. Then we come into today right next to my camera here. We're holding that daily view up. I want to sell it there with the stop loss above structure. So I get the same idea as yesterday, but this time I'm not really fighting that bullish momentum we had here in that strong 15-minute candle. Now we just have a calm, cool, and collected pullback. Let's see if sellers can go and continue that trend, which they do. So that's set in the short bias even pre-market. And then we head into the open and we get even more opportunities to sell it because we go over here in the 1 minute, you'll see. As we get a nice choppy open a little bit. Opening range is set. But I think once you get below this New York view up and you see it settling there, not really moving higher, but it's not really moving lower either. But where I just drew that circle, you can see we just pinned the daily view up once again. We did it here at 9:15 before the open. That candle at the open just pinned the daily again, and we're looking like we're wanting to move away from it. That buyers can't break us above. So I really like the way that the 15-minute candles are closing at and above that daily view up. And yes, we're below the previous day's New York view up. So definitely I am bearish that this may not look like the typical 1 minute structure that we're selling here, mid-range, as it's just chopping sideways. But you can get good risk reward saying if it breaks for a new high a day, back above that daily view up and closes, I know I don't want to be short. But with the information I have now, this 15-minute is looking very bearish. We're still holding these key VWAPs. Stocks are moving lower here for the short term at the open. I like this short. It may not look great on the 1 minute, selling at mid-range. But we have a strong thesis and a strong level that you're trading off of on the 15-minute. I mean, you're not going to catch this entire move more times than not. I mean, it goes 6R, but you can still get a nice solid 1 to 2R on the first initial pop outside that at opening range. If you look on that, I think the 15-minute was painting very clearly bearish. But if we measure this opening range, which is these first 15 minutes of the New York Open, these horizontal lines, our opening range today of size was 0.34%. So what I also like to do is go over to Edgeful here and look at the reports for that, the opening range breakout. Standard in the past 6 months with no filters on it. It's been double breaking the top and the bottom 50% of the time. Literally 50-50, not the strongest edge at all. It used to be a lot higher, so we just ebb and flow with the stats as they change. But if we go to size, like I just said, 0.34, it's actually even lower probability that we would break both sides. It's only 40% of the time would we break the bottom and the top when opening range is this size, 20 points or 0.34%. So once this breaks to the bottom, that's even more so confirming that I really only want to be looking for shorts today because the 15-minute trend is so bearish. We're below all VWAPs. But it's also telling me statistically we probably don't have the strength today to come all the way back up and break both sides. So once that's now happening, you could really, maybe even, we had some people on stream take shorts down here as it was consolidating underneath that open range low. Probably because they figured, well, we probably don't want to come up here. So I can get a good sell price off of this key level with the stop loss mid-range above the previous lower high. And I can't hate that with the fact that it is a little bit low of a sell price with no pullback, but today it didn't really give you any pullbacks. It just sold off. But another lesson on this, no matter how many times it moves like this, however strong, however aggressive, it just drops lower. Yes, it'd be fun to say I should have just sold it there and I would have made money. I could have just sold it there. I could have just sold it there. You could have just closed your eyes and pressed sell and you would have made money on a day like this. But how often does price just drop like that, never pulling back, never invalidating a stop loss? Not all the time, and it's tough to predict when that's going to happen. So I think the next best move is, like I said, have a strict trading plan of, I gave you the first signal here. If that's how you should have gotten short, if you were looking for shorts then you're looking to take a trade, that was your opportunity during the open. If you miss that, maybe this is your second opportunity as it consolidates below open range low. Other than that, it's all fun and games just saying we probably should have sold it here because there's no real strong way to get in with a good stop, good risk reward, a level to go trade to, all that different stuff. But have the confidence that, well, it may move further without me now, but it can always pull back how I actually want it to and give me my signal. So I don't need to jump in and potentially take a loss just for it to pull back and give me what I wanted in the first place, right? And this kind of goes back to the same video I made on Wednesday's trades. If we anchor to the new low a day, let's turn on the purple low a day VWAP. If you take this low a day VWAP break, it is in fact a small pullback, break of low a day VWAP. Sellers are back in. The thing I hate about these, if you want to say, these low prices after such a strong drop, is that the biggest pullback we're going to get? And then we're just going to sell off some more? Like, our buyers never going to step in at all? Yes, they absolutely could. I mean, because you get a small drop there, you can make some money on that. But if I'm being picky and saying, well, I know it could want to move from here, and I do think it probably might want to, just with how much selling pressure there is, but I need to stick to more strict rules of a bigger pullback, seeing buyers step in. I mean, the most obvious trade here, anyone that sold this lower day view up break, everybody can see, well, if they shorted it there, their stop loss is probably at those pins. So let's go stop them out here first. So all those people that shorted it are now stopped out, and now let's move without them. Right? It's just so obvious that all those pins are going to have a bunch of stop losses there that the likelihood of those getting smacked before moving lower are pretty high, in my opinion. And like I said, either duration of time or duration of points, the bigger the better for these pullbacks. That it goes back to literally just the same thing I posted on that same Wednesday video. This is the same idea. You get a lower day view up break, not off a key level after a strong drop. You could take that, but everybody knows there's a stop loss there. I mean, where else would you put it? It's so far down here, there's nowhere really else you put a stop loss. So what happens? They all get stopped out in the smaller pullback. Then it breaks the lower day view up again, and sellers are ready to continue the trend. It's the exact same thing today. Could you take this? Yeah, you'd probably lose. But then it pulls back even more. You can get another good stop loss above all these structure points of this pin back here, this lower high, that lower high, this lower high. And then it clearly drops for you to continue that trend. Because this pullback, took about 45 minutes and probably moved 10 or 12 points, right? 20 points. So I think just the bigger the pullback, the better, the closer to a key level of this New York. So if you can wait for that, you get a nice drop again of trend continuation. Even if you maybe take this one on a new low, re-anchor it, sellers step back in over here, you sell it again, right? Plenty of trend continuation. Just don't get hopped up on trying to chase these big moves and hoping that they just keep going and going without that bigger pullback. And on a day that does happen, fair play. I sat on my hands for too long. I probably missed out on money. Maybe I was too picky. But more times than not, it does help me to being like, oh, wow, good thing. I mean, it's so easy to see all this or feel the FOMO after such a big move down, such a big move down. Am I going to keep ignoring how bearish this is and just say, no, I don't like this sell price? Like, how could I not? It's been so bearish. I got to sell it here. I've been waiting on my hands too long. I keep missing these. I got to get in now. And then you do, and then that's when it's ready to pull back and you lose. You're like, come on. All that patience I was showing just to then finally jump in and lose, that's why that could really quickly spiral you off and turn a rough day. But I think it's a key example. This is literally the same week on a Wednesday of just the bigger the pullback, the better. Off a key level, the better. And on here on the 15-minute, this daily view up. If you could just see this as the line in the sand, if we're holding underneath it, I want to be looking for shorts, and I want to be trying to short it at this price. And if we're looking for longs, vice versa. But really, really strong bearish move to finish off these last Wednesday and Friday. Thursday was just a chop fest, but no denying that it was a more so bearish week, which is why I tried to sell it again on Thursday. But hopefully you guys found value in this reminder. If you guys need an account that I'm trading with, They're all with Tradeify right now, and if you're watching this, depending on when, my name will always get you the best deal. The code Evan will always match the best deal that they're running, but right now it's currently 35% off. It may be 30% off by the time you're watching it, but definitely test out code Evan so you don't have to pay full price. And then other than that, the only thing I would have to say is just find a specific plan. If you don't have one, you could check mine out on ASFX TV. Again, you could use code Evan. Check out my stream, check out the courses, and I'll walk you through how I'm using these key VWAPs, how I'm not taking that trade, why I am looking to take this trade, and we'll continue to learn and make money every day. So if you guys found value in this, like I said, always feel free to reach out. But other than that, follow your rules, trade safe, and I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.